Hi, my name is Michael Wang. My major is commercial music. This is my eighth semester. I have 74.5 units finished after this semester. My GPA is a 4.0, and my career path is to become an audio software engineer. If you have any questions about this, or uh, you need any help, or have any comments, feel free to email me at mwang@stccd.edu. So I chose the audio software engineer path because it does match very well with my turbulent debater personality type. So some of the desired personality traits of an audio software engineer are solid analytical and synthesis skills, problem-solving skills, autonomy and resourcefulness, good interpersonal and communication skills, ability to work as part of a team, and being focused on results. Actually, almost all of these, are exactly part of or the same as a turbulent debater personality, with the exception of focused on results. As a turbulent debater, uh, that type of personality tends to sometimes drift if the job becomes too boring or repetitive, and those personality types tend to um, be more interested in the idea and the analytical side. Um, so sometimes being focused on results means that that's something you have to do. So it's something to become aware of. So the requirements and qualities they're looking for this job is you should be proficient in at least one programming language. So with audio, usually C++. C++ is the most common programming language that's used because it's very fast compared to programming languages like Python. So if I decide to become an audio software engineer for video games, it is helpful to work in video game engines such as Unity and Unreal Engine, and also to be able to use middleware programs like Wise and Fmod. Not necessarily because I would need to work in that middleware, but because it helps serve as a bridge between the creative team that only focuses on audio production, and being able to bridge them with software engineers who can only do software and not audio. Uh, it's also helpful to have familiarity with APIs. That way you can link a bunch of different projects and information from different companies, third-party companies as well. So if there's a studio they're working with and they have an API, you can link that very easily. Understanding of audio digital signal processing. So understanding how signal flow works is also very important. Debugging is crucial with any sort of software engineering job in order to fix some of the issues that might arise with a program, which almost always is the case with every project I've ever been involved in. So some of the qualities I possess are I can already program in C++ and C Sharp, although one can always become better at it. I am also familiar with middleware, specifically with Wise, with video games, but I have a general understanding of how middleware works with any type of field, not just video games. Digital audio workstations, this is what you see when people are trying to produce music, like software like Logic and Pro Tools. I, of course, know how to debug. I spent a lot of time figuring out how to debug well. I've actually read a few books on that issue alone. And I have worked with both Unity and Unreal game engines and have created some projects. Actually, created a game from the ground up, from scratch, in Unity as well. The duties of a game audio software engineer are to design, implement, and support audio systems for AAA games. At least I'm trying to find a job that works on AAA games. So by audio systems, it includes the environmental system that's going to immerse the player into the game. Things like the environment, the ambiance, spatial, spatial audio, and direction, and even systems for like footsteps and changing it depending on what type of platform they're stepping on. Gunshots are also very common, as well as engine sounds revving up. Implementing and maintaining tools and systems to allow designers to realize the vision of games. This kind of goes into working and collaborating with other teams and creating an immersive environment. So based on what the purely creative team wants, or the audio director wants, it's my job to try to get that same kind of feeling into the game, if it's game audio. Analyzing the performance of audio systems and optimizing it is actually also very important. It's part of the reason why C++ is so widely used with audio, and why audio is done the way it is. For example, audio, we tend to reuse a lot of the same pieces of audio, cut one piece of audio, for example, and then run it through a bunch of filters and make it sound different. Machine gun sounds, for example, or footstep sounds, the same maybe 4 or 5 samples of footsteps can be changed with hundreds of variations. And that's when the software engineering comes into play too, like how much probability you want, how much you're going to program the volume, the reverb, and things like that. So using fewer samples actually saves a lot on resources. So those of you who play video games know that you don't want very much lag at all, especially in games like first-person shooters. Documenting and supporting audio feature creation and enhancement and usability. Documenting is very important with software engineering and any audio production I've ever worked on. Film scoring in particular, I've always documented everything many times beforehand, before I even start working, so that I have a bigger picture of where I want to put all the sounds in. And it also makes it much easier in terms of debugging, because you know what the last few steps were, and you have a bigger picture of where things might have gone wrong. The average salary for an audio software engineer is $135,000. Of course, it can be much higher. The source was saying that people can make up to $175,000, but I've seen jobs that make $200,000, like Facebook and Apple in particular have jobs in that range. And actually, I think that doesn't even include the stock options, which is worth another $100,000. So you're making $250,000 to $300,000 if you can get in there. The education is actually flexible if you can prove that you do very good work, and if you have experience working in the industry that you're aiming for. So the two largest industries that I'm aiming for audio software engineering is either video games, as discussed earlier, or DSP, audio or digital signal processing. Audio software engineers that actually make, on average, significantly more than game audio software engineers. But most of the postings will say that they prefer at least a bachelor's in computer science. If you ever speak to a bunch of my friends who are computer science, I know a lot of people who have have the BA, but still required a lot of training after that in order to become super proficient. So it's definitely not necessary if you can prove that you have the skills. Extra training includes audio engineering skills, as discussed earlier, being able to understand audio concepts, being able to produce in digital audio workstations like Logic and Pro Tools is a plus. Usually the amount of experience they expect of you is at least 2 years of programming with audio. And it's always a plus also to be able to work with middleware. Here's a photo of what it looks like in the user interface for Unity. So I've worked a lot in here. Once you write the scripts, then you have to implement it. Sometimes you would add it to the animation. Sometimes you just drag it in to a certain object. On the bottom here is the audio mixer, which is where I spend a lot of my time also. Here's basically what it looks like in Visual Studio. This is C#. That's what we use for Unity. As you can see here, imported the Unity engine library, and then the class, we'll call this class manager, inherited the mono behavior, which is part of the Unity engine. The career certificate that we had to finish. And here's some resources. This last resource is actually a website portfolio that I created. If you do want to take a look at it, the username to log in is guest, and the password is drop the mic. So this was a demo reel of some of my game audio stuff. And yeah, if you feel like you want to check that out, feel free to do that. But I think that's all I have for you. Thank you.